Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. Happy Monday. Happy extra long weekend if you guys got today off. I hope that it was, as always, full of fun, reading, family, and relaxation. I am less than 24 hours away from getting on a plane to fly to New York. I couldn't imagine driving to New York. That would be crazy talk. So I am really spending today packing, cleaning, all of that kind of stuff, getting ready for the trip, and also picking out which books I'm going to take with me to read on my 5.5-hour flight there and back. So as you can imagine, that is a difficult choice. So I thought I would share with you the 6 books that I have narrowed down that are going to make it into my carry-on to be read while I am flying. I think I can probably get through a book and a half on each flight, and then of course I'll have the time there. So obviously I will not get to read all of these, but I like to have options. So what I did is I took stacks of books down from my shelves, and I just started reading, and these are the 6 that after reading probably the first 30 or 40 pages really stuck with me as, okay, these are ones that I definitely want to get to now and read about them. So let me tell you about them. But get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, because I have to tell you, these are 6 books that are excellent, and I am so excited to get to. The first book is actually the one I decided I'm going to read first, and that is In West Mills. I'll hold that up there for you, by Deshawn Charles Winslow. This comes out next month from Bloomsbury. This is the story of a woman nicknamed Knot, K-N-O-T. Her legal name is, let me get it real quick for you, Azalea Center. She's a woman who has decided that she is going to live life in her own terms. She is a drinker of moonshine. She goes out, she has a good time, and she really has her own life. She is also like the teacher in the school, so she's an excellent teacher, but she also has this wild side. In the beginning of the novel, she is in a relationship with a man, and he really wants to be with her and marry her, however, wants her to give up the lifestyle that she lives, and she is not willing to do that. The other sort of secondary story is the story of her friend, Otis. Otis is her neighbor, and they are very, very close. And let me make sure I'm saying that right. I think Otis. Yes, Otis Lee. Him and his wife and their child live next door. What's really fun about Otis is he's more of the stable. There's a great section where he talks about raising chickens and how important chickens are to him. And I really sort of connected with that love of the animal part of it. What happens is that on sort of the last night that Knot is with the man she's going to marry, he leaves to go off to war. She finds out she's pregnant, and that sort of changes everything, and her life is sort of in upheaval. And it really is, what is she going to do now? And the decision she's going to make, her life in the community of West Hills, and also she's very independent, and what she wants to do moving forward. I don't know much more than that because I am allowing myself to experience the story of Knot and Otis as I go along, but the writing is just lyrical and beautiful and descriptive, and I'm really, really enjoying it, and I really love Knot as a character, and I actually love Otis Lee quite a bit too so far, so I'm hoping that this keeps going and is as amazing as I think it's going to be. So again, that's In West Mills by Deshawn Charles Winslow. I have to say thank you to Bloomsbury for sending me this early copy, and it comes out in the month of June, which is just a few days away, you guys, so it's not really that far away at all. The next book I'm going to tell you about is one that I could not be more excited to have sitting on my shelf, and that is The Memory Police. Just take a moment to look at the cover. This is by Yoko Ozawa, who is one of my favorite Japanese writer, and this is translated from the Japanese by Stephen Schneider, and I'm pretty sure that Stephen Schneider has translated most of her books. Don't take that as 100%, but I do believe he has translated the ones that I have read. This was sent to me by Pantheon, so thank you very much, Pantheon. It comes out in August of 2019. Now, Yoko Ozawa wrote the Professor and the Housekeeper and the Professor, and also Hotel Iris, which I absolutely loved those. The short story collection, Revenge. She is so eclectic, and this is an island where our main character lives. She is a novelist, and on this island, things disappear. So what happens is all of a sudden it will be decided that a certain object or word or something will disappear. For example, bird. The word bird or the object bird will disappear. And it will be sort of erased from the island. So all birds are let loose or let go or taken out of the world. There's no more chicken or anything like that for you to consume. But also the word and anything of its mention in literature or in scientific study is also removed. And there is a group called the Memory Police. And the memory police sort of go around and make sure that everything about that object is taken out of the general community consensus. So there's like no sort of way. Now, the main character's mother at the very beginning, we learn, is a woman who actually could remember these things. And I hope as we go on in the novel, we learned why that was. And she collected certain objects that were forgotten or have been made to be forgotten. And I was enraptured when I started this, and I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's the idea of memory and storytelling, and also how do you tell the story as things sort of change and words and objects and things are taken away from who you are, and also how do you protect yourself when you want to keep that memory. I just love Yoko Ozawa, and I cannot wait to read this. So that's The Memory Police. Again, take a minute to... That cover is something fierce. This was, again, sent to me by Pantheon, and it is out in August of 2018. A book that is already out, and this copy was sent to me by Grey Wolf Press, is The Silk Road by Kathryn Davis. Now, I talked to you guys about the, what is it called? The Archive of Alternate Endings by Lindsay Drager. This is similar in that Kathryn Davis has her own style, and it's very experimental and sort of out there, and I absolutely love this. This is about a community that lives underneath, I want to say, the polar ice cap. I couldn't remember. It's deep within the icy north, and it's about a group of people who are really known and sort of identified by their role within the community, but they're all doing yoga one morning, and one person doesn't wake up, and it's thought to be a murder, and an investigation ensues. And what happens as we learn about how this murder may have taken place, we also learn about these people in the community and how they've gotten there and who actually they really are. There's like a detachment to this writing that has sort of this weird sci-fi aspect to it that I was really digging, and I was really lost in sort of the world building, but it's simple, but I was like, this place is strange and interesting, and I really want to know what's happening next. So yeah, I'm really excited. This is called The Silk Road by Kathryn Davis, and thank you so much for this actually beautiful finished copy from Grey Wolf Press. Okay, the next book, okay, 3 more. I'm taking 6. 6 isn't that bad. I can definitely try to do 6. Is Bunny by Mona Awad. This was sent to me by Viking, and this is out on June 11th, 2019. Now, so this is the story of a young woman who is in a master's writing program at a well-known elite New England university, and she is there, and she's sort of out of place. She's a scholarship student. She doesn't fit into sort of the wealthy elite type of group, and there is a group in her MFA program who call themselves the Bunnies. So they refer to each other as the Bunnies, and the beginning of this is just absolutely laugh out loud, ridiculously funny. But what happens is that she, our main character, let me get her name, Samantha is sort of on the outside until one day she's invited into this group where the Bunnies sort of write. I'm not going to tell you what it's called because I don't know if YouTube will let me say it. You know how they are about some words. But it's funny. And she winds up sort of leaving the only friend she has to infiltrate this group to figure out what it's all about and sort of the community they have, and also to further her own sort of artistic expression. I have really heard that this book is actually hilarious, darkly humorous. And Laura Vandenberg, who wrote The Third Hotel, which was just a weird really cool novel in and of itself. Said that it's hilarious and subversive, magical, and knife sharp. It confirms the author as one of the great chroniclers of what it means to be alive right now. So that's a pretty strong blurb. My only complaint about this book, and you guys, this is funny, the font in this arc is so ridiculously small. It is hard to read, but that is, I am on board for the story. So that's Bunny by Mona Awad, and this is out on June 11th, 2019 from Viking. So thank you so much for sending me this. I am really excited to read that. The next book that I'm going to tell you about is Cygnet by Butler, and this also comes out in June, and this was sent to me by Harper Books. This is the story of a young girl. She goes by the name of Kid. She's 17 years old. One day, her mother and father take her to an island where her grandmother lives and leave her, saying they will be back for her soon, and they never return. Now, a couple of interesting things. This island is a retirement island. Everybody there is of a certain age, and they want the purity of that. They do not want children there. They do not really approve of Kid being there, living with her grandmother. And then her grandmother passes away, and Kid is sort of on her own, and she has to make her own living to pay the mortgage, to have a place to live, to do what she needs to do to survive. And this is that story. What is she going to do to sort of survive as she waits? She hopes for her parents to return, but will they ever? And then you add on to that this aspect that the community in and of itself does not want her there. I started this one actually last night to see if it was going to make it into this pile, and I was absorbed. The writing is, again, very, very beautiful. And Kid is a very compelling character, even in the first few pages. And her grandmother's house sits sort of like on this weird cliff on the island, and part of the cliff is sort of falling into the sea. And the way that Butler described that, I was definitely like, oh, okay, that is a metaphor if I've ever heard one. And I was really entranced. I am really excited. So that is Cygnet by Butler, and this is out from Harper, sorry, nose itch, in June 2019 as well. Last but not least is a book that I probably don't have to convince many of you to read, but I know we are all super excited about. If You Want to Make God Laugh by Bianca Marius. This is from the author of Hum, If You Don't Know the Words. This comes out July 16th, and I have to thank Putnam for sending me this. And I love that her books are going to have sort of this same feel for a cover. If You Want to Make God Laugh is the story basically of three women in South Africa from three different walks of life. I'm going to have to make sure I get some names right. Oh, and I'm going to struggle with some pronunciations here. Ozawa lives in a squatter's camp on the outskirts of Johannesburg. She is 8 months pregnant, and she is sort of keeping a secret, and she's guarding sort of it with her life. It's definitely something that's, and you know, in this time, in this period, there's a lot of stuff about the AIDS epidemic going on in Africa and so on and so forth. There is Ruth, who is an upper class socialite who seems to have everything that she wants, and she goes through a breakdown of some sort. And then we also have a disgraced nun named Delilah, who is really grappling, and I think the way the back puts it is like her past. She wants her past to stay her past. And all three of these women are suffering a crisis, which brings them all together to a rural sort of place in South Africa. And they wind up discovering, I believe, an unborn baby. And it sort of changes everything for all three of them. If you guys haven't yet followed Bianca on everything, she is just an absolutely lovely person. And I am super excited for this. She has a way of just telling you a good story, making you care about people and place and character, and she can tug your heartstrings. So this one is out on July 16th, 2019 from Putnam, and that is If You Want to Make God Laugh by Bianca Marius. I think, if I do say so myself, I did a pretty good job of picking the 6 books that are going to go on this trip with me. Have you guys heard of any of these? Any of them tickle your fancy? Which one would you read if you had to choose which one to read on this trip? As always, if you are a return subscriber, I want to thank you guys so very, very much. You know how much I appreciate you. If you are new to my channel, I hope all of these books wind up on your TBR and you want to talk about them later. Until next time, I wish you happy reading, and I'll talk to you soon. I will talk to you from New York. Bye!